African villages. Most African villages still live in deep-rooted traditional systems untouched by modern infrastructure. Villagers rely on oral traditions, community elders, and rituals to govern everyday life. Children grow up helping in farming, and education is often a luxury. Due to isolation, access to electricity, internet, and proper roads is rare. This creates a huge gap between urban centers and rural life. They hold on to identity, but the lack of progress creates a hardship. Understanding these struggles reveals a different face of global inequality. These villages are living time capsules in the modern age. In many African villages, clean water is hours away, carried manually by women and children. Droughts, deforestation, and failed infrastructure warn this crisis yearly. Unsafe water sources lead to cholera, diarrhea, and high infant mortality. Water is not just a basic need, it's a matter of life and death. Organizations try to drill boreholes, but many projects fail due to corruption. The crisis is especially severe in the Sahel and Horn of Africa regions. Villages are forced to migrate or depend on aid. The water crisis is both environmental and political. In most villages, women are responsible for everything: farming, cooking, raising children, and collecting water. Girl-child education is often sacrificed for domestic chores or early marriage. Female genital mutilation is still practiced in some regions under cultural justification. Maternal deaths are high due to lack of clinics and trained birth attendants. Child labor and child marriage are still common in rural belts. Despite this, women form informal economic backbones of their communities. Empowering them is key transforming village life. Yet most government reforms ignore rural women completely. Most African governments focus on cities while ignoring the vast rural population. Basic rights like healthcare, education, and sanitation are missing in these villages. Elections often bring false promises that never reach the village level. Local leaders sometimes misuse aid for personal gain. Without political inclusion, villagers remain violent and invisible. Development funds rarely reach where they are needed most. This gap fuels resentment and migration to overcrowded cities. Ignoring villages is a ticking time bomb of future instability. Most villages lack clinics, doctors, and essential medicines. People rely on traditional healers or travel miles for basic treatment. Malaria, TB, and waterborne diseases are widespread and deadly. Pregnant women often die from preventable causes due to poor care. Mental health is taboo, and disabilities are treated as curses. Immunization campaigns often fail to reach deep rural families. Even fast aid and clean delivery kits are a rare privilege. Neglecting rural health builds silent humanitarian disasters. Villages often follow a mix of traditional beliefs and mainstream religions. Witch doctors, spirit healers, and ancestor worship are still active. People may blame sickness or barn harvest on curses or spirit. This belief system provides comfort but hinders medical trust. Christianity and Islam coexist with tribal beliefs in many places. Churches and mosques often take lead in education and aid. Religious leaders are respected more than government officers. Faith binds the community, but superstition can delay progress. Foreign companies extract natural resources from African villages with little benefit to locals. Gold, oil, diamonds, and timber are exported while villages remain in poverty. In many areas, companies destroy farmland, forest, and water sources. Local people are promised jobs but often get exploited or displaced. Corrupt officials allow illegal deals in exchange for personal gains. Environmental destruction leads to long-term famine and migration. Development without dignity is a disguised form of exploitation. This creates distrust and anger toward outsiders and the elite. Western media often shows African villages as helpless and primitive. This one-dimensional portrayal hides their strength and wisdom. NGOs use sad images to raise funds but rarely show real bosses. Many villagers feel their culture is misunderstood or mocked. Social media is now changing that narrative from within. YouTube creators and local journalists are reclaiming the story. African villages are not museums, they are evolving societies. Respecting their perspective is the first step to true awareness. African villages are often built around extended family system. Children are raised collectively by the entire community. Elders are highly respected and play a key role in decision making. Marriages are often community affairs with long-standing customs. Shared responsibility builds unity and sense of belonging. But poverty and migration are putting pressure on these systems. Still, family remains the foundation of rural African life. This value teach resilience, respect, and community loyalty. Many young people leave villages hoping for jobs, education, and better life. Cities offer dreams, but reality is often harsh and disappointing. Slums grow as migrants struggle with unemployment and high living costs. Villages lose their youth while elders are left behind without support. Cultural identity fades as rural values clash with urban lifestyle. Some return disillusioned, others never look back. This migration reshapes both cities and villages in unexpected ways. Understanding this shift is to solving rural decline. African villages hold untapped potential for sustainable development. Agri-technology, solar energy, and mobile banking are transforming rural lives. Local entrepreneurs are emerging with ideas tailored to village needs. Education access is improving through radio, apps, and community centers. Young people are returning youth skills to rebuild their communities. Empowering women is leading to social and economic revival. The global spotlight must shift to empowering villages, not just cities. The hope of African lies not in skyscrapers but in the strength of its villages. Music is the heartbeat of African identity. From birth to death, every African ceremony includes music and rhythm. Music is not just entertainment, it is history, healing, and heritage. Each tribe uses distinct instruments and chants to tell their story. These traditions are passed down orally for generations. The djembe drum is used to gather people and celebrate unity. The kora is a 21-string harp that tells stories of kings and warriors. The balafon resembles a wooden xylophone used for blessings and rituals. Each instrument is handmade, often blessed before use. China has invested billions in African infrastructure. Roads, railways, ports, and dams. These projects are part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. Africa welcomed China as a partner free from Western colonial baggage. Chinese companies now operate in over 50 African countries. They build airports, mines, stadiums, and even government buildings. But not all investment come without strings. Debt traps and dependency are rising concern. So, is this true partnership or a new form of control? Many African nations have borrowed heavily from China. Loans are often tied to using Chinese labor and materials. If countries default, China can seize assets like sports or mines. Sri Lanka Hambantota port is a clear warning sign. Critics call this debt trap diplomacy. China denies the accusation, claiming mutual benefit. Still, transparency in village is often lacking. The fear is China buying influence with money instead of weapons.